Hi, I'm Ryan, and on my notes app here, I hold the 10 greatest sports movies of all time.
Hi, I'm Bran, and I'm here to let you know that Ryan does not hold the list of the 10 best sports movies of all time. I do.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm here to tell you that Bran doesn't hold the best list of sports movies. I do. And this is the Diss List.
Diss List. Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast. It was okay.
It wasn't great.
Brandon and friends host this podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
That Deck the Hallmark theme music means one thing and one thing only.
Yes, welcome to a very special episode of Deck the Hallmark, where we try something new. We've done games.
We've done games.
Which we've conquered.
We've cracked them.
Successfully.
This is a game, kind of.
Sort of, in a way.
This week, we are trying to crack lists, and I think we have a pretty fun way to do that.
We do.
But Ryan, welcome back to the show. It's been a while. Really happy to see you. You got 10 seconds. What's new?
Good outings for Cleveland sports as of late. Sorry, Bran. But yeah, no, I'm all right. I've been building out my.
That was super messed up. Why would you say that?
I've been building out my shelving in the office. I'll probably post a video to the Facebook group soon because I'm back on Facebook.
BrambleGymPlus.com. If you want to see the shelving units that Ryan is installing, now is your chance.
Y'all saw them really early on into the process. It's totally different. Trust the process has never been a more true phrase.
I will say this about Ryan. Ryan, so in South Carolina, it's illegal to bet, do any bets online. You can't gamble on the sports.
I feel bad about this.
So occasionally I will text Ryan Pappolla and be like, "Can you throw 25 on Cleveland?" Like maybe a half dozen times. And I was.
By the way, hold on real quick. I'm not sure if that's exactly totally above board. So Dan just gives me suggestions for things for me to bet, and then we just
of course. I don't say throw 25 on it for me.
No,
I say
he says you should do this
for you. You should do this, and without fail, Ryan 100% of the time always is such a good sport. He always does do that. He throws the money on there for him, obviously, and for fun. This is fun.
Yeah. Totally for fun.
So Saturday, I'm sitting at the Domino's pizza pickup window because Domino's screwed up my kid's pizza and sent it with a delivery driver to someone else's house. Thank you, Domino's, on Pleasantburg Drive.
And thanks to Derek. Derek, hope you enjoyed that pizza.
So I'm sitting there while they remake the food in the pickup window, and I'm just looking. I'm like, I don't care about the Kentucky Derby, but who all's running in this thing? And there's a horse named Mystic Dan. And I'm like,
which I've been calling you for a long time.
Horse named Mystic Dan. I'm like, Ryan's got to know about this. It's 20-1 odds. And I'm like, Ryan, if you're not busy, you should put $50 on Mystic Dan. I know it's a long shot, but the name, it's a horse. This makes too much sense. $50 would win me or you would win you $1,000. If you would do that. And Ryan has always been able to do this because he just is a great guy. Well, Ryan happened to be working on Saturday night, and he sent me a text. Was like, I really can't. I'm working. And I was like, no big deal. It was a long shot. It was probably a waste of $50. I'm glad you saved your money.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I watched the Derby, and by a nose, Mystic Dan wins. And that was $1,000 that Ryan will never see.
Yes, it's really. And with trying to finish the shelving, I could have used that grand.
That would have helped the shelving. Yeah. Maybe I bought you some more Power Rangers helmets. I don't know. Yeah. Something.
And so these whores just run down a track?
I think it was horse. I got blocked. I went for it.
Did someone say?
Yes. No.
What's going on? What's happening?
I needed a new pin for this show that we're doing.
And it was just really, it was so stealth, and I'm sorry that I called it out.
Yeah. No one would have noticed if you're watching Philo.TV/CTH. Hey, we got a new game we're playing today.
It's a new game.
It's called the Diss List.
Yes. Now, I just want to say, sometimes we sit around here and we have various ideas.
That's right.
Sometimes the idea itself comes first. Sometimes the name comes first. this was a bit of a hodgepodge beluga because occasionally on the line you'll see, BuzzFeed or other places post like lists that are like the 10 most defining movies of our generation.
The 10 greatest DCOMs that launched DCOM Descendants.
Correct. Because we're like, this list is nonsense.
You and Aaron were arguing, and I was like, why don't we do a podcast about this?
Yes.
So we love lists around here.
We love lists.
Big fan.
Yes.
We almost all said we loved lists at the top, which in retrospect may have been the way to go.
Maybe.
A little less confusing.
It was a little less McCarthyism than what we did.
And so what we've decided to do is, instead of tearing apart a stranger's list and telling them that they're wrong, why don't we get our friends to make lists?
And we tear their list apart.
Yes. And so we invited Ryan to come on here today and to give us his top 10 favorite sports movies of all time.
Favorite.
Yeah. Now, if you think we're going to be quiet while Ryan rattles those off, I don't know if you've ever heard a podcast before, but that's not how those work. Ryan's going to read us his list starting at 10, going up to 1, and he's going to sell us on that being where it should be. Yes. We're going to have a go at the list, obviously, after every one of them. And then after it, we're going to have some fun. And the short version is we're going to get to the rules as we go along, but Ryan's going to have to choose either my list or Brand's list to be the list of top 10 sports movies.
And that will be a bit of a combination of
several things. So
yes.
Listen as we go along, and also if you're listening and you just are Deck the Hallmark listener and you're driving your car and you're like, I thought I was going to hear more Deck the Hallmark. 1, sorry, but 2, if you could listen and just give your feedback, we'd love to hear it because this could be its own podcast. We don't have enough going on. We'd love to add to our work schedule. So if you like it, it could be something that we do regularly with other guests. Not just Ryan, if you can believe it.
But also in 3, if you want some more Deck the Hallmark and you're like, oh man, Pappolla really screws things up, don't worry. In a few months from now, I'll also be reviewing all the Star Wars films on this feed.
Vroom to you. That's exactly right.
Yeah, if you're looking for more Hallmark.
He's making some shelving, and you're going to get to see that video if you join Bramble Jam Plus.
That's true.
Facebook group. That's right.
Without further ado, we are going to start again. We're talking best sports movies of all time. You all at home may have your own thoughts on this. We would love to hear those as well.
Make your own list.
Make your own list. Let us know at Hallmark Podcast on the social medias. But Ryan, let's start with number 10. I can't wait to hear your list. I'm sure it is going to make us all angry.
Need to know?
Yes.
Anything we need to know first?
Yeah, thank you, Dan. That's important. I only had 2 bit of criteria that I abided by in terms of stuff that didn't make the list. I just kind of mentally said, all right, how much sports were in this movie? And if I didn't feel there was enough sports in it. So, for example, I love Draft Day. Draft Day is not going to make the list. There's not enough sport in Draft Day. That's a great example.
I love that.
Yeah. And then my other criteria, and maybe, I don't know, maybe if someone else did this, they wouldn't have felt the same. I left any documentary
Hoop
off
Dreams,
the list.
not on the list.
Hoop Dreams, like The Last Dance could have been number 1 if I was including,
yes.
So.
Hoop Dreams would be on my list, but I love that qualification. I will not sell you on Hoop Dreams. I love it.
Okay.
What about
about
Danny's Big Day, which is part documentary, part movie?
Number 2.
So don't
I love Danny's Big Day.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
He had one big day.
And I will say this, after you get to 1, and Danny's Big Day, obviously, if there were any that were close, like an honorable mention or 2, you want to...
I have a category.
Great. All right. Do that last, though, because I don't want to spoil it for the 10. I would love to hear the 10 and thinking they could be anything.
Cool. All right. But yeah, I think those were the only bit of criteria that I really kind of held myself to. Everything else was fair game.
I love that.
And shall we begin?
I love it. Let's do it. Number 10.
All right. Number 10, 1998, classic film, directed by Greg Beeman, Disney Channel's Brink.
What are we doing? What are we doing right now? Ryan.
Oh, boy.
That is not the assignment.
No,
one effing spot on this list. This is unbelievable. You are out of your mind.
I was told these are my favorite.
This
sports.
is
I double
crazy.
checked on this before we started. I emphasized the word favorite. If you expected Raging Bull to be at number 10, we have a real issue. Like, you shouldn't have asked me to do this then.
I can't believe we didn't say at least in the theater.
No, Ryan's right.
Tell us why you love this sorry excuse for a movie, Ryan.
Well, I mean, really, if you just take everything that Dan has said about it on public forums as of late and reverse that, that would be the reasons why. But no, like, listen, Brink is a vital film of my youth. I think as watching it as an adult, the skating is filmed exceptionally well. I think they do a lot of interesting. It was the role that Eric Von Detten was born to play. Quite frankly, I'm surprised I'm quite frankly, I'm not surprised it's not higher. Number 10, Greg Beeman's Brink. From 1998.
Shout out to Greg Beeman. I have to be honest. I feel like I know you relatively well.
I didn't see it coming.
I still didn't see it coming.
I didn't see it coming.
I'm thrilled that it is here. I'm also thrilled to be able to shout out Decom Descendants, a podcast that we
great pod.
Come on over, we're having a lot of fun. We're also trying to get to 100 reviews in the next couple of weeks before episode 20. So help us get there. We're close.
I can't believe a Decom is on this list. There are so many great sports movies, Ryan.
I love
barely made.
I love Brink. I love that it is on your list. I don't even think I would have even thought about it. And so the fact that it even came to your mind and that you did it,
thank you.
I don't know if it would have made my top 10. But I'm happy that it's there.
We have time to find out later.
I'm happy that it's there. I'm happy that it's there. Dan, you're
Why
clearly
are you
not
doing this,
happy.
Ryan? And you didn't even know the format. The crazy part is what we get to do to your list, which everybody's going to find out later. You didn't know when you made this list, and you still put Brink at number 10, which strategically is kind of
it's an interesting move. It's a good
an
move.
interesting move.
It's how important is 10?
Yeah, how important is 10? But Ryan, if I just Googled sports movies, I would, and I read you the first 8 or 9. Like movies that the 7th best baseball movie is better than Brink, Ryan. Like, I mean,
I don't think
the Natural, Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, like just in the baseball category.
Dan, genuinely, your argument is tough to be digested when the only film out of all of those that have been reviewed by you is Brink.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's because we don't have a baseball movie podcast. We have a Decom podcast.
Dan, technicalities.
But Ryan, you cannot possibly look at me with a straight face and say that this is one of the 10 best.
Dan, I don't know that Dan. The assignment was not 10 best sports movies.
But we expect a little bit of decorum.
I don't.
Just a little bit of like understanding. Movie.
I expect
that Brink
nothing.
isn't even a movie.
Rand, was the assignment 10 best or 10
Who
favorite?
can really say? And I think regardless, I think favorite and best, there's
your
a
top
bit
10 and you can do what you want, but from this point forward, we're going to make it theatrical releases only because this is BS.
I think that's a bad idea.
People should be able to do whatever. And if there is a movie that didn't go to theaters, because to that point, does Netflix count? Does Netflix count?
Yeah, Netflix does theatrical releases for all their big ones.
Okay, but did the Adam Sandler basketball movie go to?
They show it in one screen one time, so it accounts for Academy Awards.
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah. I will rent out a theater and I'll put Brink in it. Like if this is the game we want to play,
production studio has to do it, not you.
I have a production studio. It's called Bramble Jam LLC, mother effa.
Did you make the movie?
No, but I'll get the rights to it.
This podcast is going to last a year and a half.
I'll do what I have to do.
We got to go to number 9.
Brink in a theater at Bramble Fest sounds like a good old time. Number
that
9,
sound that
man.
You made got us to TV 14 somehow on Philo. I don't know how it did.
Number 9. Dan, it's going to get better, but it might not get better here. Number 9, If Nothing But Not Predictable, 1996, directed by Robert Lieberman. Give me D3, The Mighty Ducks.
God almighty. I don't know why we did this. I thought it was a good idea. It was Brandon and I came up with this idea together. We put our heads together. We thought this is the best of our two personalities in one podcast. And now Ryan Pappolla, whom I love like a brother, now I want to throw him off a bridge. I just can't believe this. I looked at Brandon Gray and I said,
wait a second. Wait, though, but seriously, sorry, I don't mean there's no way you two bring me on and don't expect D3, the Mighty Ducks.
What did I say to you an hour ago, Bran?
I don't remember.
I said, do you think he'll actually play D3 as one of the 10 best? There's no way he'll play it as one of the
Let's just hear him out. Why do you think that D3 should be on the list of the top 10, your top 10 favorite? Why does it belong there, and why is it at 9?
I think it has the best emotional core of all three Mighty Ducks films. I think you see a young Joshua Jackson coming into his own as one of the better kind of working actors of our generation, you know. And there's no one.
You couldn't even say that with a straight face.
It's a nothing like a little nothing hockey all the way through the third period.
Stop
to really
it!
raise the
You're like
stakes.
Jimmy Fallon breaking in an SNL sketch right now. Wait,
so this movie had enough sport for you?
Oh yeah, I mean listen, they absolutely. There's two big hockey game set pieces, and then there's the
hockey game set pieces. Portman's letter got lost. Portman's letter was lost, Ryan.
Listen, the mail to Chicago is tough that time of year.
Also,
there's only 96.
And I know you went first last time. I'm going to go first this time. One, this movie's inexcusably bad. Two,
no, it's not. It's not inexcusably bad.
I have a question for you, which is you have corrected me twice in saying that you have D2 ahead of D3. Mm-hmm. In playing D3 at 9, are we to assume that D2 is also
we'll just have to wait
30% of your list is Brink and two Mighty Ducks movies? You what?
Not going to get better, Dan.
It's
actually going to get a lot better.
I just want to say really quickly, I'm not surprised that this has happened. I will say the only thing that I take offense to is you saying that D3 is better than Brink. I would I would raise an eyebrow there, but not surprised to see it on the list, especially knowing you.
Thank you.
And you playing it at 9 is another interesting strategic move because Dana and I are going to get a chance to play with your list a little bit, and so
I got to be honest.
One of the spoiler alert, one of the things that we get to do with your list is Dana and I will each get to flip one of them, and so I'm early on already eyeing a Brink D3 switch him up. I'm already eyeing it. I'm already eyeing it.
Can I be honest, Brand? Yeah. I think I'm with you that Brink is better than D3. I don't know that I'm with you. I'd have to really think and go to the war room on that. I don't know. I need to watch D3. I've not seen D3 since I saw it in the theaters.
We got to take it to the tape.
So
we have to take D3 to the tape.
I do need to watch D3 again. So I will give Ryan the benefit of the doubt that it belongs ahead of Brink, but neither of these movies belong in a top 100 sports movies list. Top 100. There are 5 sports movies made in 1993 and 94 better than these two movies.
Well, honestly, my list may touch on that in a bit here.
This is like way harder. We didn't give ourselves enough power.
You're doing a great job,
Ryan. Go ahead, number 8.
Thank you. Number 8. We're gonna go to the 80s, 1985. Another franchise film directed by Sly Stallone. Give me Rocky IV at number 8.
Oh my goodness. The one where he solves the Cold War, Ryan? The one where it's all montages?
Wait, Dan,
go ahead.
Dan, are you pro Cold War? I mean, is that what I gather?
Tell me what's so awesome about Rocky IV, Ryan.
I mean, it's a music video in film form, right? And it's there's a great emotional base. Now, I will say I didn't know what the rules were here. If you've seen the Rocky IV director's cut that hit theaters a couple years back, an infinitely better film, and I'd love for that. And so honestly, listen, I'm doing a bit of a bit here, but I'm also being serious. But take all my hyperbole away. The Rocky IV director's cut is great. It's infinitely better than Rocky IV.
Because Rocky IV is like 90 minutes and 20 minutes are montages of things that happen in Rocky III, or fighting.
Yeah. We cut back on some of the montages in the director's cut. We add a lot of gravitas for the Apollo Creed death. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the Rocky IV director's cut and you're a fan of the Rocky franchise, I recommend it. But so if you want to say this is the director's cut or the regular, by all means. But listen, I love Rocky IV. It's an incredibly fun film. By the time he's roaring at the top of that mountain, you just feel something, right? And what are we going to the cinema for, or your TV screen if it's Brink, if not to feel something?
Yeah. Bran, have you seen Rocky IV?
I don't think I have seen Rocky IV. I know I've definitely not seen all the Rockies. I've seen a few of them. I have seen all the Creeds. But I like it. The Rockies that I have seen. I have not seen one where I'm like, that's a turd of a movie. But also came out before I was born, and so there's only so much. Like if there was an attachment to like growing up with it, I don't have it, and so there's some of that plays into these type of movies especially. So I have not a lot to add to whether or not this belongs on the list, but I'm happy to see Rocky on the list, if that makes sense.
Is this your favorite Rocky movie, Ryan?
No.
Yeah. That's what I was
Loaded
scared
question.
of. That's what I was scared of, is we have 7 spots left.
No, there's not going to be 7 more Rockies on this list.
But there's going to be another Mighty Ducks and Rocky, because God's not real and the world's not fair. First of all, you need to know this. As a kid, as a 9-year-old kid, Rocky IV is my favorite Rocky movie. No question about it. When he beats Ivan Drago at the end of that movie, the blood spit just flailing everywhere, and he beats this one was my favorite. I watched it when Creed came out. My wife wanted to see Creed, and she had never seen any Rocky movies. And she was like, what's the bare minimum I could watch? And I said, well, let's watch the first one. And then I talked her through 2, and then I skipped to 4, because in 4, they give you montages that tell you what happened in 3. Yeah. And I said, the quickest way for us to get to the theater for you to see Creed is watch 1, have me talk to you a little bit about 2, and watch 4, then we can go. That's all you need. When I watched it again,
you didn't want to do Rocky-a-thon like we did Terminator-a-thon?
That's a long thon, especially when you got to sit through Rocky 5. Look out. When I watched Rocky 4 again, that thon. I like it when the gloves go.
Yeah. So you bring me on these guys.
Yeah. So when I watched Rocky 4 again, whatever that was, what was that, 6 years ago? I was shocked at how bad a movie it was. I was appalled. It was maybe 60 minutes of plot that includes a very brief death of the most beloved character not named Rocky in the entire series.
Is that fair? Is that fair, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, the director's cut definitely amends a lot of that. But yeah, I mean, the death of Apollo Creed should have been a bigger deal.
Oh my gosh, it should have been massive. Yeah. So, and then at the end of this movie, Brian, I'm just going to go ahead and spoil the movie. He fights Ivan Drago, who is just like a roided up Russian robot during the Cold War in the 1980s.
On Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day.
Oh, it's a Christmas movie?
For free.
He fights him in Moscow?
For free. Money. Yeah.
And
no money.
This guy has murdered Apollo Creed in the ring.
Yes.
He goes and fights him. He rope-a-dopes him and gets the brains beat out of him for some rounds. Beats him.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, grabs a microphone in front of all of these Russian Soviet comrades in their arms, grabs the mic, and he goes, if I can change, he changed how he fought and how he trained to beat Ivan, then you can change. To the Soviet army. And this is all true. If I'm lying, I'm dying. The Soviet army stands up and applauds Rocky beating Ivan Drago. It is one of the worst moments in movie history.
We have all been swept up in the magic of Christmas.
It's a Christmas film.
It's a Christmas movie.
It's the only Christmas film on the list. I can give that.
Oh
away.
My gosh. Yeah. All right. So we did that.
So you're saying it doesn't hold up? It
does not hold up at all. I can't believe this. We're 3 movies in, and they're all turds.
But can you confirm 100% that that's not what happened with the war and how it all kind of got figured out?
I can confirm that the Cold War is not won by Rocky. Yes.
Okay. All right.
What were you going to say to that, Ryan? I didn't mean to cut.
I was just going to say it might be it might be a bit of a liberal stretch to say that Rocky saying I can change is in relation to his fighting style. I don't know.
I've never. But he had to learn how to train without a gym. Like he goes to the middle of the Russian mountains.
I've never interpreted it that way. I found it more as though that he was just saying, "Listen, what does
that mean? What does it mean when he says
I'm here in Russia, and I think you're okay. You pat my back, I pat yours. I feel like that was what was happening.
Okay, great. But it's still all the Russian comrades in arms stand up and applaud the American Italian.
It's Rocky.
The second part of that, how you explained it, is absolutely how it went, and whether or not you find that believable or not is up to you.
On fire. All right. That is we break? Are we breaking?
Yeah, we
breaking
can take a quick
Electric
break.
Boogaloo?
We can take a quick break. We'll
Let's
come
do
back. We'll get to the rest of Ryan's list here on
This
Dislist.
list. There's another meaning there. This list.
Welcome back to Deck the Hallmark, a very special episode because we're doing our
It's
first
terrible.
ever Dis list, which so far is living up to its name.
Yeah.
So far, Ryan's list of the greatest sports movies of all time: 10 Brink, 9 D3 The Mighty Ducks, and 8 Rocky 4.
Just shut
And
up.
I just want to say, if you think this is a troll job, you don't know my friend Ryan.
That's right.
I do want to say real quick, yeah, this is like, I took this very seriously. These are genuinely my 10 favorite sports
That is the
movies
one
of all
thing I will say is Ryan is nothing if not sincere. And that is the
This isn't like when, if you guys listen to the
Hallmark
most
movie
rated
drafts.
with all
Yes.
three of us on it, me, Brian, Dan.
Brian was shady.
We did a bit of where there was some tomfoolery.
Yes.
There's no tomfoolery
This is
here.
not a draft
Zero.
podcast. Hallmark movie draft. You can go listen to Hallmark movie drafts or screen drafts if you want something not
Great
Hallmark.
fun shows.
Like great shows. This is not that. Ryan is being sincere. He is.
Yep.
He gets to keep a lot of this list. There's nothing we have some power, but in thinking about this pilot, we should have more power. I didn't think we were going to need it, but now I think I need double what I said we should get.
Yeah, well, such is life.
Yes. I think we
Let's
should
get to
double.
number
I'm just saying that
7.
now. We should get double.
Let's get to
Two flips,
7.
two replace.
All right, to peel the curtain back here a little bit, number 7 was the last, although it's number 7, it was the last to make the list. It was the one I had forgotten about until literally this morning before recording. It's from 1996. As a young child, I thought it was real. It was directed by Joe Pytka, and it's called Space Jam, starring Michael Jordan.
I'm just going to need a minute.
I don't have. Go ahead and explain why this movie is on your list. Go ahead.
An amazing blend. First of all, Brent, I'm sure you had a similar experience as a child. An amazing blend of just two of our favorite worlds colliding. For anyone who's unaware, Space Jam stars the Looney Tunes playing basketball.
Look at you. Right. Look at you. How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? You just said the sentence in ranking the top 10 sports movies of all time. You just said for anyone unfamiliar.
Oh man. Oh boy. It stars the Looney Tunes.
I hope you started with Looney. A lot of people might have started with Michael Jordan. Bill Murray. Even.
And not the names of the people that voiced the Looney Tunes.
Larry.
They're real. Bugs is real. Stars the Looney Tunes.
Could have said Sean Bradley.
It's really interesting.
You said stars Looney Tunes.
It's really interesting too because the Looney Tunes. It's a really meta film because they're playing themselves. Yeah. So like they're.
Right.
Like it's not like Bugs Bunny. Like they're not. They're. I thought it was cool as a kid. I still think it's cool now. The sequel sucked. Fran, I'll kick it to you.
So I just recently watched a sequel with my kids. They wanted to watch
movie
it.
Sucked.
So bad.
It is as good as the first one.
Algae Rhythm is the villain in that movie. Need I say more?
Stars the Looney Tunes.
It does star the Looney Tunes. He has to get them back together, but it does. It does. Yeah, I freaking love this movie. Adored it as a child. And I would just say, there's a lot of conversation going on about who's the greatest basketball player of all time. I dare you to watch the 4-minute long intro set to I Want to Slam, the montage of Michael Jordan playing basketball, and say he's not the most electrifying basketball player to ever play the game. Just play the first 4 minutes of Space Jam and shut your mouth. Also, you got a great soundtrack. I Believe I Can Fly. Amazing.
I'm gonna fly like an eagle.
And I like you, for a long time, thought this movie might be real. I did try to figure out how I could make my arm stretch. Lots of things that would maybe give me an edge in basketball. That never came to be. But a wonderful movie. I'm happy to see it on the list.
I love sports. And I love movies. And I love Ryan Pappolla. I hate I hate all of this. I hate everything that we're doing right now. I hate that we came up with this idea. I am saying right now, Brian, we get double. We get double what we say we're getting. There's no way I can do this without it. I saw this movie as a 13-year-old, and as a 13-year-old who adored Michael Jordan, has seen every finals game, 90, 91, 92, 96, 97, 98, saw them all. All of them. Blazers, Lakers, Suns, Jazz, Sonics. I saw them all.
Tonics.
I walked out of the movie theater and went, that wasn't good.
You walked out of the theater and said, LeBron James best ever. 2-year-old.
As a 13-year-old.
Dan was more pretentious at 13 than I'll ever be in my life. And I do want it on the record.
I just can't believe this may be the worst movie on this list. This movie, Rocky IV, is definitely better than this movie. And I think D3 and Brink are better than this movie. This movie is tough, man. This is really heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that we're going to put forth some sort of absolute garbage that we have here. And I love everybody.
You will admit, though, some of Bill Murray's best work.
Bill Murray's great. Okay. He's a how dare you? What do you mean best work?
I'm just saying some of.
What I will tell you
is
this.
The scenes that he's in this movie.
He's great for the whole of the 90s. Everything he was in, he was great.
Yeah, you're right.
And the 80s for that matter. Here's what I'll say about this is of these movies, this one is the one that has the most pedigree to be on this list because of how important it was, not for 13-year-olds like me, but for 4 and 5-year-olds like Bran. For those, like you were almost 5 when this came out and you thought it was real. So I can at least see the value in this pick. The other 3, I don't know how to make ends meet there.
The new one's worse though, right?
The new one is.
That movie sucks.
I was joking. The new one is worse on virtually every level. Okay. It's really bad.
Algae rhythm.
Yeah,
get out of here. You know what? I will just say really quickly. I started this list going. I'm excited to see if Ryan includes Air Bud. And at the beginning of the list,
God Almighty!
At the beginning,
I will go through the screen like the girl from The Ring. And I will fight you.
Which, by the way,
Dan's got a Kool-Aid man.
Which, by the way, I just rewatched recently. Is fantastic.
Air Bud?
Yes.
The Ring. Oh, I thought you meant The Ring. The Ring is fantastic.
Yeah, that's fine. Give me Air Bud. I would have said probably not, but I don't know. My hopes are now still alive that Air Bud could make it to this list. All right, Ryan, let's go to number 6.
All right, I will throw you two, specifically Dan, a bone. 6 and 5.
Air Bud, here we go.
No. 4 through 1 on my list are locked in. On my honorable mentions, there's some films of, I think the masses would call of more of a qualitative standpoint.
Honorable mentions are going to sting like nobody's business, Ryan. I'm just telling you right now, if that's what you just... Honorable mentions are going to sting.
What I'm saying is I could swap in 2 films for 6 if for the purpose of the exercise. Hey, if you want me on the fly here,
you know what? No. This makes it more fun.
Okay.
But we're going to double up. I think it's fair that we double up because he's got to choose one of our lists. So if I use all of my stuff, and that means he might not choose it. So it doesn't matter. Yeah.
All right, everybody. We at the end of this show, Dan and I we had talked about getting two things we would get to do. One is a flip them. So we could, Brink and D3 flip it, and then also a replace where he could throw out Space Jam, add something else to number 7. So you're saying you want double?
Yeah,
both
2 flips, 2 replaces.
Aaron, is that allowed?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. All right, doubling up.
All right, 6. Go
She's
ahead.
The producer.
Cool.
I don't know what to say.
Number 6, she also watches horror movies as of recently.
Right.
Number 6, 1982. I think the only director on here twice, directed by Sly Stallone, Rocky 3, number 6.
I like this on Deck the Hallmark. We don't curse. It's a rule. It is. I
gave you an olive branch here.
It is everything I have. It is everything I have
3?
to not unleash profanity. Right
You don't
now.
like Rocky 3?
Rocky 3 is way worse than Rocky 4.
Whoa! Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Rocky 3 is a joke of a movie. Hulk Hogan's picking him up. I know why you got it. You're a big wrestling guy. Mr. T, Clubber Lang. It is the worst.
Ryan's face.
Of
I
the-
have seen this movie.
Of the top 4 of Rocky 1 to 4, Rocky 3 is the worst one.
So I'm going to tell you right now, real quick. Rocky 1 and 2 not on the list. Here's the thing.
Rocky 1
is
is
by
a Best Picture nominee.
Yes, Rocky is by far the best film of the 6 Rockies. By far. It's a cinematic masterpiece. Rocky is not a fun time at the movies.
dare
Have
you.
you watched? You ever been sitting around on a Thursday when Brand gets sick and say, "Let me go home and watch Rocky to have a fun time"? like you don't like Rocky's not a fun. It's a great
very
film.
weird set of circumstances that
It
I have
also
to
felt
check.
like weirdly personal, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, because Brand's
No,
sick all the time.
I get strep once a year.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Rocky 3 is an incredibly fun film. The fighting scenes in Rocky 3, the boxing itself, is by far the best of the 3 Rockies that had happened so far. They get a little crazy with the sound effects on Rocky 4 and beyond. A really great performance from Mr. T. And quite frankly, Dan, I pity you if you feel otherwise. Yeah.
A really great performance from Mr. T. Oh my gosh.
I do want to say I have seen this movie, and it is a good time. And so if the qualifications for Ryan's list is not best, but best time, then I can see how you got this.
This is
Thank you.
so hard,
Much
man.
fun better. Yeah.
This hurts, man. Our friendship's gonna make it, but it's gonna take something.
I told you up front that this could be
Oh
problematic.
my
all things-
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. I'm just, man.
You got nothing to add? We can move on to 5.
I'm gonna now before number 5. I'm one more time. I am going to give the option that I can make a quick swap.
No.
here.
That's not how we play the game. We told you your
right.
favorites. That's why we have a different guest every week. If we did you every week, then we wouldn't be friends.
Well, it really depends on the category, right?
Yeah. We should have let him pick best Power Ranger movies, and I could have been like, yeah, that one's good too.
Are we ready for number 5?
Yeah. Here we go.
Number 5 is going to begin a run of films from the year 1994.
My gosh.
Yeah. Brandon, do you have something to add?
I was just going to say rightfully so.
Yeah, thank you. At number 5, the year 1994, directed by Andrew Sheenman. It is Little Big League.
Oh!
Why?
Oh, Little Big Leagues.
That is not in the top 5 kids sports movies of the years 93,
No,
94.
listen, there's been a at this point a 30-year-old discussion, and 30th anniversary of Little Big League of what's the better film about a kid in the majors, Little Big League or Rookie of the Year, and I've always been steadfast that it's Little Big League, far more believable film, far more believable.
The tendons heal a little tight,
The
Ryan.
tendons healed tight, Ryan.
Yeah, it's the science just isn't there. And Little Big League, if you take all of the premise away about it, just a kid being a manager of a baseball team, just a fun journey about the Minnesota Twins ultimately losing to prime Ken Griffey Jr. And one of my favorite jokes in cinematic history is in this film. Number 5, Little Big League, Smart House. Yeah.
What's your favorite joke?
When they're doing if you've seen it recently, they're doing the bit about how quickly if person A starts painting the house and person B is going to paint the house. I wouldn't do the joke justice, but it's very, very, very funny. Very good joke.
We've been talking around the office a lot lately about early 90s family movies, sports movies, specifically. And it came out that I had not seen this movie.
Yep. You've not seen it. That's right.
And it's not streaming anywhere.
I have it on VHS.
Yeah, I also do too now as well. So I was sent to me.
Too now.
It was sent to me in the mail. So if I could just borrow your player.
I have several. Yeah.
I do just want you to know though that I did just rewatch Rookie of the Year. And
Fun film.
Yeah. Don't say it like that.
Absolutely.
It's a masterpiece, Ryan.
It's a fun film. I
is
like it.
No, it's a masterpiece.
Hot ice.
And so I haven't seen Little Big League. It is now, and now I'm going to have to figure it out because there's just too many people at this point. This conversation has been going on for too long now.
Too long.
So I've got to get this figured out. But You're saying it's better than Rookie of the Year, and I just find it hard to believe. That's all I'm saying. I just find it hard to believe that anything really could be.
Oh, wow.
So here's
it's a masterpiece.
I'm going to try to keep my cool here, which is real tough. In 93 and 94, all of the following movies came out. D2, The Mighty Ducks, Rookie of the Year, Angels in the Outfield, Little Big League, The Sandlot, Cool Runnings, and one other one. What was the seventh one? I forgot. Rudy. Rudy came out in 93, 94.
The Magnificent Seven, as we call it here. Yes,
Yeah.
the Magnificent Seven.
I think I'm still missing one more. I think there's 8.
The Great 8, as we call it here.
Here's what I will tell you. Of the 7 movies I just named for you, Little Big League is the worst. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad, Ryan. For 10-year-old me, 11-year-old me, it was a fine movie. It was a carbon copy. It was like a LaCroix Rookie of the Year. I'm just telling you, this is an abomination. There are 7 other movies in that little window there that I would have over this movie. I mean,
I know which. I know. Well, Rudy, I'm not counting into like Rudy probably doesn't fit with
it's
that
not
group.
kids.
So Dan. Like,
Rudy's not kids. That's why I know there's another.
I know which one you forgot. I have it. It's the next on my list. Don't say it. It's next on my list.
Sandlot's Little Giants. That's what it is.
At number 4, Little Giants.
Unbelievable. This is
directed by. And also, how fun! 2 movies that start with the word "little" back to back.
Super fun,
Coincidental,
actually.
genuinely.
I don't even know what to do. I don't even know how to fix this.
Directed by Dwayne Dunham. I watch it every Super Bowl weekend as long as time permits. A classic tale of good and evil. Ed O'Neill, one of the most underrated actors of our time. Rick Moranis, some of his finest work. Boy, don't we miss Rick Moranis.
Don't we?
Yeah.
Also,
the J.D.
hey guy
Salinger of our time.
out there a few years ago that beat him up in the streets of New York City. How dare you?
Yeah,
We
he
still
listens.
haven't
He's
forgiven
a regular
you.
listener.
We still haven't forgiven you.
The guy that beat up Rick Moranis
He was
is
this close
he's
to
a-
coming back.
He's a regular listener to the
He was
podcast.
this close to coming back, and he said, "You know what? This is why I don't do stuff. This is why I don't do stuff."
Rick Moranis and Jonathan Taylor Thomas just sipping Mai Tais on their private island, talking about how they used to be the biggest stars in the world. Yep.
I love this
It's a
movie.
hot take from Ryan, giving mid 70s white guy Ed O'Neill the most underrated actor category.
One of.
I adore this movie as well. Just huge for me growing up. And tell me that you don't, every time you're in the supermarket, you don't think about throwing toilet paper for practice. You don't think about it. You've never thought about it. You never thought about getting together with
cinematography on
You
that?
never thought about getting together with your pals, throwing some toilet paper in the aisles of the supermarket.
I've not seen this movie since it came out in the theater.
We should watch it together. Hold hands.
I will admit that I do remember it having a fun time, but I don't even know what to do. And I was really counting on 4-1. He had the whole time. Ryan was just like very clear that from 4-1 things were going to turn back in my favor. And
no, I don't think I said that. I said 4-1 were locked in these were the first 4 I thought of instantly. They were locked in from the moment.
They're locked in. For those of you unfamiliar, Space Jam stars the Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Why, Brand? I'm sure you're going to go back to Space Jam for a second because it's important. When Jordan comes back at the end of Space Jam, my 6-year-old brain, I was like, oh, like this is the true story of what he was doing while he was away.
100%.
Yeah,
100% why he came back to basketball.
Like, it wasn't until I was a teenager where I was like, oh, I think this was a work of fiction.
He fell in love. He fell out of love with the game of basketball. He said, I really want to do this thing called baseball. And then dadgummit, he realized that there is nothing better than coming together with a group of friends and tunes and playing the game that you love.
It wasn't anything to do with the fact that his father died.
No.
That's not covered in the
It's
film.
not important. His dad's in the film.
All right, we got 3 left. Is it break time? Is it break time
Yeah,
now?
we'll take a break.
Let's
Let's
take
take a
another break.
Right.
You're on this list.
I gotta figure it out.
Welcome back to Deck the Hallmark special edition. It's this list.
Thank you, Ryan.
And this is
Thank you.
This is Ryan's list for best sports movies of all time. So far, starting at 10, Brink.
Recap.
D3, The Mighty Ducks. Rocky 4. Space Jam starring Looney Tunes. Rocky 3. At 5, Little Big League. 4, Little Giants. That brings us to number 3, which is what?
Please,
Ryan?
just one movie. One.
What? No, one last gem from the year 1994. Directed by the great Sam Weisman.
D2. It's D2.
It's D2, a film that has influenced style to this day. For 30 years, people have thought the knuckle puck was real and attainable. Changed hockey. I would say genuinely popularized street hockey to the degree for the rest of the 90s and early 2000s, in which it was far more so than Clerks. Was D2, The Mighty Ducks.
Oh my gosh.
An international story. Joshua Jackson leading up to his performance in D3, where he becomes one of the great young actors of the early 2000s. D2, The Mighty Ducks. Had to think about it at number 1. Really, for a moment, had it at number 1.
You had to at least consider it.
For a time period, had it at number 2. 1, 2, 3, and 4 were there, and then it was about figuring the order. Ultimately, ironically, D2 lands at number 3 here on the list of the 10 best sports movies of all time on this list.
It's a perfect movie.
Perfect.
It's a perfect movie from
It's a
start.
perfect kids movie.
It's a perfect movie from start to finish. And I still get chills when I watch this movie. It's a masterpiece, and I'm a little bit bummed that it's at 3. Still holding out hope for Air Bud, but you better have some humdingers at 2 and 1, because D2's too good. It's too good.
Perfect film.
It's the perfect film.
None of these
Let's
movies.
go shake their
None of these movies are in the top 10 best sports movies of all time. Just read one book. Of the movies that he has mentioned so far, D2 is my favorite of those movies that he's mentioned.
Thanks
so far.
for gracing us with your presence.
Dan likes the list.
Dan
likes the list.
Uh-huh.
Dan
Nice
likes
try.
the list.
Here's the thing is, it would be fun if he was always hosting and doing the list, but I don't think I can do it. I can't do a weekly show where I get this angry at Ryan. He's too nice a guy. This is the best movie you've mentioned so far, and it is maybe a top 30. Thanks, Ryan. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we want to go to number 2?
I would love that. Yeah.
All right, because we're already almost an hour in.
What?
At number 2, Brand, you can sing the little jingle if you want. From the year 2000.
From the year 2000.
Directed by, I might get this wrong, Boaz Yatkin. It's
Remember the Titans. That's exactly right.
Can you let him, gosh, it's his list, Dan.
Remember the Titans for a very, very long time. A decade plus was my favorite sports film of all time. And now listen, I know that ultimately my list has been from my youth heavy, and Remember the Titans falls under that category. But I would say it's one of those Disney films, especially Disney proper films, that I think transcended being, I think it's more than a kid's film. I think it was very informative, literally, for me as a young kid. I also just think it's a really good sports movie. I think there's a great performance from Denzel Washington, several others. A star-studded cast, Ryan Gosling, Wood Harris, the list goes on and on and on. I love this movie. I think it holds up. I freaking love it. Remember the Titans, number 2.
It is my favorite sports movie, and it is one of my favorite movies of all time. Love this movie. I'm so happy to see it. Wish it was number 1 on your list, because then we could really hug. But I'm really interested to see what you have at number 1, because I
think he might have the movie that he should have at number 1, which makes me so happy, because I think we've talked about it, actually, weirdly enough.
Okay.
And I could be way off, but I think weirdly enough we've talked about this. And maybe I'm off base, because I find so few people that agree with me on this, and I think Ryan might be one of them, which might salvage this whole thing. This is the first movie so far that would be on my top 10 list.
Oh, wow. Dan likes the list.
Dan likes the list.
I'm going to have to remember the Titans. I mean, what coach doesn't want to have the speech that Will Patton gets to give in this movie. Yeah. I mean,
didn't even mention Will Patton. He's
everything
amazing.
You said about this movie is true. Denzel at peak Denzel. Gosling, you got so much going on here. And then Will Patton comes in with "They better not gain another yard." And I could do the whole speech for you. I'm not going to do it. Chills just thinking about it. This is it right here. Like, this is sports movies in a nutshell. Are there better sports movies qualitatively? Yeah. Is Raging Bull a better film than Remember the Titans? Yes. Is The Color of Money a better film? Yes. Remember the Titans, better movie. It is just sheer joy and sheer awesome. What a cast, what a time. Great pick, Rye. I would have maybe had it at 4 or 5, but I can't argue with it at 2, especially looking at what we got so far. Great pick, Rye.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Are we ready?
I'm ready for number one. Ready.
Dan, I'm trying to rack my brain about what conversation we could have had. I don't think I would be actually shocked if
Well, Brand knows my number one, and it is off the beaten path. So if you say it, he'll know immediately.
All right. So for 15 years, Remember the Titans was my favorite sports film of all time until the year 2015.
Wow.
This film, once I give the director away, it will give it away. So I will just do a quick preamble. That I do not like this movie because of things that had come before it. I genuinely, and listen, I know that I just think this film is so well made, so many incredible performances, was robbed in some ways at the Oscars. Directed by Ryan Coogler, Creed is my favorite sports film of all time. This movie is fantastic. Show you how good Ryan Coogler is. And listen, I know that I've just talked about how great Space Jam and Little Big League are, so it's maybe hypocritical for me to talk about like hardcore directing now. But Ryan Coogler gives you a full boxing match in the middle of this film. One take, multiple rounds. It's incredible. Michael B. Jordan is fantastic. Sly Stallone should have won Best Supporting Actor. The moment in the 11th round when Michael B. Jordan is basically done for, out cold on the mat, and sees a series of images, including just a perfectly edited, quick snapshot of Carl Weathers, may he rest, as Apollo Creed, and then gets up. I rarely watch films. I rarely watch scenes of films. I usually watch a whole movie or I don't watch it. I will watch that final fight scene from Creed all the time. It's fantastic. It's my favorite sports movie of all time. Undoubtedly, Creed.
Yeah, I love this movie. It's a great movie, and I don't have the attachment to Rocky.
Which helps. But I would have loved Creed without everything.
Yeah,
else.
so,
Being a Rocky fan helps.
Okay,
for sure.
Yeah, this movie is just as just a movie is fantastic, and so yeah. I get it. I understand it.
It is not my number one, Ryan, but that's the conversation I remember us having is Creed is the best Rocky movie. I agree that Creed is the best Rocky movie. I had written down in my notes here, Creed for Rocky 3. I was going to change it in for Rocky 3 because Creed is amazing. I have cried in 2 sports movies ever. Creed is one of them. And I got to be honest, before you see the title card Creed, when you see this kid in this home, and then you see Felicia Rashad, and then they say, what was his name? And then it just goes, I'm getting
chills right now.
Boy, like I am just like, this is it. Creed is amazing. Ryan Coogler's amazing. Michael B. Jordan is amazing. Rocky was a stereotype. He was an Italian stereotype, just meathead. Nobody cares. And people would do impressions just to see how dumb you could sound to be Rocky for 6 movies. And then Sylvester Stallone in this movie is unbelievable. He's not okay for Rocky. He's giving the performance of the year. He's unbelievable. If you've not seen this movie, you have to see this movie. It's so good. I adore Creed. Thank you for adding some integrity to this list. Love it. Love it at 1. Nice job, Ryan.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Real quick, because I know we're running along. Dan, to that point about the opening scene, when I first saw it in theaters, I saw it opening week. I saw it the day before Thanksgiving, 2015, with my mom, which definitely also adds to the nostalgia of it. It was great. I was like, Dan, like that first scene was so unlike anything we had ever seen in any Rocky film. I was like, Mom, we might be in the wrong movie until that Creed. Like, it was just like Coogler was like, I am about to change the game.
And then if you hear the story of Ryan Coogler and his dad, have you heard that story?
Yes.
I mean, try not to cry reading that story. Thinks his dad's going to die. They write this movie. He's like, I'm going to make this movie for you, Dad, because we watched the Rocky movies and you're not going to be around to see it, but I'm making this movie for you. Black lead in a Rocky movie. Like, and then his dad makes it. They find out what's wrong with him. His dad gets to see it. Like, it's just everything you could want in a movie. I love it. I'm so glad that we've had some semblance of order here. But can
you give us your 10-1 real quick, and then we'll make our list based off of your list.
Yeah, for listeners, maybe even, who knows, maybe Jax is listening. Number 10, Brink. Number 9, D3, The Mighty Ducks. Number 8, Rocky 4. Number 7, Space Jam starring the Looney Tunes. Number 6, Rocky 3. Number 5, Little Big League. Number 4, Little Giants. Number 3, D2, The Mighty Ducks. Number 2, Remember the Titans. And then number 1, Creed, directed by Ryan Coogler.
Okay.
All right. So here's the deal. We each get 2 replaces and 2 flips. So you can replace first and flip if you want, but you get 2 replaces and 2 flips to create your list, right? Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
All right.
If you need a little bit more time.
Ryan, you're going to pitch right now. Ryan has to choose one of our 2 remade lists.
Yes.
That's the deal.
Yeah.
Brand's going to pitch you his list, what he's done, and I'm going to pitch you my list, and we'll see what happens.
I just want I'm not messing with your top 4, Ryan. I think you've done good work here, and I'm just going to leave it as is. I am going to do what I said that I might do, and switch Brink and D3. So my number 10, number 10 will be D3. My number 9 will be Brink. Moving to 8, I'm going to get rid of Rocky 4. And I'm going to replace it with Hoosiers.
Okay.
I love Hoosiers, and I just want a little bit more basketball on this list. So that's what I'm doing. 7, Space Jam. Let's leave it alone. I'm going to really quickly go down to number 5. I'm going to get rid of Little Big League, but I am going to stay in the same vein, the spirit of Little Big League, and I'm going to replace it with Angels in the Outfield.
Oh, wow. Didn't think that's where you were
What
going.
did you think I was going to do?
I thought you were going to go Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Should have. Maybe could have. But I didn't.
You do that?
I'm going to do Angels in the Outfield because I just rewatched both of them, and I liked Angels a bit more than Rookie of the Year. So I'm going to replace it with Angels in the Outfield. But then I'm going to switch 5 and 6. So I'm going to move Angels in the Outfield to 6, Rocky 3 to 5, because you made a pitch for Rocky 3, and I want to respect that pitch. I thought it was beautiful.
Thank you.
And even though Dan hates the movie, doesn't think it belongs on the list, I'm going to say I respect you. And as somebody who is in the the fighting world like you are, to say that Rocky 3 is your favorite of the Rockies, I think I have to take your word for it. So I'm gonna bump that down to 5, and then leave your top 4 the same. Little Giants, D2, Remember the Titans, and Creed. So really quick, 10, D3 Mighty Ducks, 9 Brink, 8 Hoosiers, 7 Space Jam, 6 Angels in the Outfield, 5 Rocky 3, 4 Little Giants, 3 D2, 2 Remember the Titans, and 1 Creed for the perfect list of top 10 best sports movies of all time.
Thank you. And real quick, Dan, before you start, I just want to say, I know that this has been a little bit of an up and down experience, but the fact that we can do a podcast where you have Brink and Hoosiers back to back probably means we're doing something right.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to do, Ryan. There are 2 movies that I think really belong on this list. I want to respect your top 4 because I don't think that you're going to choose my list, and if I take one of your top 4 out. I think you've made that clear. If I F around with D2 or Little Giants, which are better than these other movies, then we've got a problem.
Okay. Thank you.
My favorite sports movie of all time is a movie called Warrior. It is an MMA movie.
Oh, love it. Yeah.
It is by far and away. I've seen it a dozen times. Seen it a dozen times. I've literally cried every time I've watched the movie. Nick Nolte, amazing. Tom Hardy, Joe Edgerton, amazing. Picture of forgiveness and means nothing's perfect still. It's unbelievable. Fight scenes, amazing. Whole thing is amazing. It's 1 for me. I'm not going to mess with your top 4. I'm just going to do a hard change there. Warrior for Little Big League. Just put it at 5. Take Little Big League out. Brandon and I both did it there. Totally makes sense, right?
Writing that down. Yep.
I'm going to put Hoosiers in for D3. I think D2.
Controversial. Yeah.
I think D2 is a movie that why I don't think it's top 10. I think it means a lot to me. It means more to you two, whatever. Hoosiers for D3. Now, what I want to do is I want to move Hoosiers. So I'm going to do a double switch. Okay.
Well, the first of its kind.
Yeah. First episode, I'm doing a double switch.
So, doing a double switch.
I get 2 switches, right? So what I'm going to do first is, so Hoosiers is at 9 currently. I'm going to switch Rocky 3 and Brink. So I'm going to put Rocky 3 at 10, and I'm going to put Brink at 6.
Wow,
okay?
look at
Wait
Brink.
for it. But then
darn.
I'm switching Hoosiers at 9 and Brink at 6. So moving it back to 9.
What a way to do this.
What a fun
Well, there's the only way to get it done. Okay. So here's what we have.
Yeah, I need the list. Yeah.
My list. Number 10, Rocky 3. Number 9, Brink. Number 8, Rocky 4. Number 7 is Space Jam starring the Looney Tunes. Number 6 is Hoosiers. Number 5 is Warrior. 4 Little Giants. 3 D2. 2 Remember the Titans. 1 Creed. There's a lot there now. Now we've got some filmmaking on the list. And I still got Brink on there. And I still got all of those Rocky movies somehow.
It's a great list. It's a great list. Dan, just one more time. Hit me with number 6 one more
6 is
time.
Hoosiers.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Do you have a good handle on whose list is what?
I have both. I have both lists written down with my honorable mentions as the barrier in between, so I won't forget.
Okay, great.
All
right, it's time for Ryan to choose which list is the definitive
honorable mentions without
list.
describing them first. Just your honorable mentions first.
Oh yeah, no, just real quick. I'll just mention a couple. Love and Basketball. I, Tonya, King Richard was on the list before I remembered Space Jam starting the Looney Tunes.
Stop it.
Yeah, and
I, Tonya, great movie.
yeah, a bunch. Yeah, I mean, so there was a bunch. I mean, there was a bunch.
Those
but
three didn't make it because of Looney Tunes and Brink. I just want to be very clear.
Major League.
Yeah.
Major League.
Yeah.
Again, like Draft Day would have been on the list if I
all
deemed
kinds of
sports
better movies. We got it. We understood.
Yeah.
Great. Cool.
All right. But man, it's really interesting because like Warrior is really an excellent film.
It's amazing. And if you are listening to this and you've hated me the whole podcast out there, please just go watch Warrior. Even if you hate MMA, I hate MMA. I think it's pugilistic and dumb, and I don't want to watch it. I think boxing's great. I think it's a science. I think MMA is tough for me. It's tough for me to watch it. Warrior's amazing. You should go watch it.
But is it a good time?
It's a great time. Yeah. I would show that movie. If anyone has said they've never seen it, I'm like, we're watching it right now. I would watch it on a loop. It's phenomenal.
All right. So listen, all of that from the Ride Guys end agreed with. Ultimately, now I just make a verdict.
Yes.
Correct. It's tough. It's really tough. First of all, I just think this was a beautiful exercise in democracy, what we've done here today, and I'm really proud of all of us. And I love you all. Class dismissed. But ultimately, fine. Listen. Yeah. Tough call. Really tough call. In the end, one of these lists has D3 the Mighty Ducks on it. One does not. Brand wins today.
I thought it might. I thought that was going to cost me. I thought it was going to cost me, but
I love what you did with Warrior. I mean, I love it, but I ultimately I can't be me for an hour and 7 minutes and then not be me the last 30.
So one last time for those of you at home, the definitive list of the best sports movies of all time: 10 D3 the Mighty Ducks, 9 Brink, 8 Hoosiers, 7 Space Jam starring the Looney Tunes,
starring the Looney Tunes,
6 Angels in the Outfield. Which makes me happy that it's on the list. 5.
Yeah, that was the toughest. But yeah, go.
5 Rocky 3, 4 Little Giants, 3 D2 the Mighty Ducks.
Keep it going.
2.
Where you at? Where you at, Brand? Aaron's with us.
2 Remember the Titans. And 1 the greatest sports movie of all time, Creed.
It's a workout after a while. I'll say that.
We did it, everybody. There's angels in the outfield and in the infield. And in this studio right now.
Yeah.
Ryan, thank you for being the first guest here on the Diss List. Everybody, let us know what you thought. Share on social media. You can email us. You can leave a review even on Apple Podcast.
Apple Podcast.
And let us know. And let us know what you thought.
Apple Podcast.
We'll be back tomorrow with another one.
No.
Great to see you, Ryan. Until the very first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark, the Brable Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to BrambleJamPlus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.